They say the worst betrayal comes not from your enemies, but from the people you trusted most. I used to think that was just something bitter people posted on Twitter until I lived it until the night of my 21st birthday, when my perfectly filtered world cracked wide open. The night I thought Jason Carter, my golden boy boyfriend of 3 years, would propose under the fairy lights in front of all our college friends and our supposed inner circle. Instead, he shattered my world with a champagne flute still in his hand and a smile that didn't reach his eyes. I stood there, wearing the dress he helped me pick, blinking under the glittering lights while my best friend Vanessa Blake, who was supposed to be like a sister to me, stepped forward, holding an envelope. "Emily Walker," she said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "you're not who you think you are. You're not the real Walker heiress." At first, I thought it was some twisted party game or one of Vanessa's signature pranks. But then she pulled out legal papers, birth records, adoption certificates, and a smug expression that screamed she'd been waiting for this moment. My stomach dropped. Jason didn't even try to defend me. In fact, he stepped to Vanessa's side like he belonged there. He looked at me and shrugged, like I was a disposable placeholder. "Let's not pretend you didn't know," he said casually, his arm wrapping around Vanessa's waist. "We all suspected. But hey, thanks for the free rides and designer gifts." My knees buckled, but I didn't fall. I refused to. I glanced around the rooftop garden. Every face was watching, whispering, smirking. And it hit me. All those late-night hangouts, all those faux-concerned texts from Vanessa, Jason's sudden interest in charity galas and family events, they weren't love or loyalty. They were calculated. They'd gotten close to me for status, for access, for the Walker name. I wasn't even sure which betrayal stung worse, that they'd used me, or that I hadn't seen it coming. My adoptive parents, the Walkers I'd grown up with, just stood there stunned, unable to deny the DNA reports Vanessa held in her perfectly manicured hands. Apparently, their real daughter Vanessa had been mistakenly switched at birth, and I'd been living her life while she lived mine in the shadows. Vanessa smirked, as if reclaiming a throne she'd been unfairly denied. "Jason?" He leaned in and whispered, "You were never wife material, Emily. But thanks for funding my car and my startup pitch. Oh, and Vanessa's beauty pageants too." I don't remember how I walked out. Only that my heels felt like concrete blocks and my heart like shattered glass. I wandered through the city until the skyline blurred through tears, thinking maybe I was cursed, maybe everything was fake, until the limo pulled up beside me. The door opened, and a man with Robert Walker's face stepped out. Except this wasn't my adoptive father. He had the same surname but an entirely different aura. Sharper. Colder. Richer. "Emily," he said, his voice low and steady, "I've been looking for you for 21 years. I blinked, confused, mascara-streaked, and emotionally numb. "I'm sorry, I'm your biological father," he said. "And we have a lot to discuss." That's how I found out the cruelest joke the universe played wasn't that I was a fake heiress, it was that I'd been the real one all along. Not the Walker family from the suburbs of Connecticut, but the Walkerses in Walker Global Holdings, as in Forbes cover family, as in net worth $15 billion. I'd been switched at birth with Vanessa, yes, but not into poverty, into a lower-tier upper class. Meanwhile, Vanessa had clawed her way up pretending to be me, all the while knowing the truth and playing the long game. Robert Walker brought me back to their estate, a place that looked more like a palace than a home. Marble floors, staff waiting at every corner, and 3 older brothers who stared at me like they'd just seen a ghost. Ethan, the eldest, looked me up and down like he was scanning for damage. Noah, the middle one, actually choked on his espresso. Ryan, the youngest, leaned against a grand piano and muttered, "No way, she's our sister, she's wearing Zara." And just like that, I burst into laughter. It was the first genuine laugh I'd had in weeks. I was finally where I belonged. But just because I'd found my real family didn't mean I'd forgotten what they did to me, Jason, Vanessa, every fake friend who smiled while plotting behind my back. They thought I'd disappear, fade away quietly. They didn't realize they'd just handed me the biggest upgrade of my life. I wasn't just back. I was born for this. And I was going to make sure every single one of them regretted ever thinking I was replaceable. Starting with the first day of school, next week at Columbia University. Because guess who just became the new sponsor of their business department? Yeah, me. The first day back at Columbia University felt different, like I had leveled up in some twisted real-life video game. Except this wasn't a game, Anna Marie, it was payback season, and I was the main character now. I showed up fashionably late, obviously, but not too late, just enough to turn heads when the new matte black Maybach pulled up in front of the campus. My brothers insisted on sending security, but I told them to chill. I didn't need a red carpet or paparazzi. I just needed them to see me. The version of me they thought they destroyed, except better, richer, sharper, and unbothered. The whispers started before the door even opened. I could feel the stares through the tinted glass, the speculation sizzling in the humid September air. Some recognized the car. Others recognized the girl in Louboutins stepping out with her head high and a smirk playing at the edge of her lips. "Is that Emily Walker?" someone gasped. I didn't stop walking. The heels clicked against the pavement like punctuation marks. Confidence wasn't something you wore, it was something you radiated, especially when you knew your enemies were watching. And oh, they were watching. Jason and Vanessa stood near the student affairs booth, acting like campus royalty with matching smug grins. Jason wore that same blazer I'd bought him last year, and Vanessa was dressed like she'd just stepped off a low-budget influencer shoot. The moment their eyes met mine, Vanessa's smile faltered just a little. Jason, being the narcissist he was, looked confused, like his brain couldn't compute how I could still look this good after he tried to ruin me. "Emily," Vanessa called out, forcing her voice into fake excitement. "Oh my God, I didn't expect to see you back here, after everything." Her tone dripped with honey and venom. "After everything," I echoed, tilting my head slightly. "You mean after you exposed me in front of the entire city? After you lied your way back into my life, just to steal it? Or after your little boyfriend here used my credit card like it was a scholarship fund?" Jason's jaw clenched. He tried to speak, but I wasn't done. "Don't worry. I'm not here to cause a scene." I smiled sweetly. "At least not yet." The crowd had gathered by now. Smartphones were out. You could practically hear the TikToks forming. Bullet comments like "Emily is back," and "she ate that" would be trending by lunch. One of the school's PR assistants stepped in awkwardly, trying to break the tension. "Ms. Walker, we weren't expecting your arrival today, but the dean has asked to meet you privately. He's in the boardroom." "Of course he is," I said. "Let's not keep him waiting." I turned and walked away without another word, leaving Jason and Vanessa to stew in their own awkwardness. I could feel their eyes boring into my back, but I didn't care. They needed to see I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. Inside the boardroom, Dean Richards stood up as I entered. "Ms. Walker, it's an honor," he said, his tone nervous but respectful. "On behalf of Columbia, thank you for your generous endowment. Your family's contribution to the business department will..." "Cut the formalities, Dean," I interrupted politely. "I'm not here for praise. I'm here to observe." He blinked. "Observe? My father wants weekly reports. I want transparency. And I'll be sitting in on several classes undercover." His expression wavered, but he nodded. "Of course. Whatever you need." I walked out of the meeting with access codes, a private lounge pass, and full visibility into the department Jason used to think he'd conquer. The irony was delicious. By lunchtime, word had spread that the fake heiress was not only back, but had literally bought her way into the university's boardroom. And still, Vanessa kept trying to twist the narrative. "You know she's just dating some rich old guy, right?" she hissed to a group near the library lawn. "That's where the money came from. She's not even a Walker anymore." It was too easy. I posted a single photo on Instagram at the Walker estate pool, flanked by my 3 brothers, all tagged. The caption? "Family's everything. Thanks for the warm welcome kiss, Mark Walker bloodline." The likes blew up in seconds. Ethan commented with a flex emoji. Noah reposted it with "My baby sister's hotter than your girlfriend." Ryan simply added, "She's back. Be scared." I didn't need to explain anything. The internet did it for me. Screenshots of old adoption records surfaced. Comparisons of Vanessa's manipulated documents got leaked. Even the Daily Gossip blog picked it up, titling their article, "Fake Heiress Exposed, Real Walker Returns with a Vengeance." Vanessa's attempts to smear me started collapsing like a house of cards. The final blow came that evening, at the campus welcome party. Jason, ever the actor, pulled me aside with that stupid puppy dog expression. Emily, listen. I know things got out of hand. I messed up. But we had real moments, didn't we? You can't just pretend we never, I said, putting a finger to his lips. Save it. You're embarrassing yourself. I still love you, he whispered. Too bad, I whispered back. I love myself more. He reached for my wrist like some last-ditch attempt at redemption, but before he could touch me, a firm hand grabbed his. Ethan, my 6'2" oldest brother. Touch her again, he said coolly, and I'll break both your hands. Then you can't swipe any more gold cards, yeah? Jason turned pale. Vanessa, watching from afar, looked ready to implode. And me? I was finally smiling for real. But this was only the beginning. Because tomorrow, I had a little surprise for them both, something involving leaked footage, summer job receipts, and a few bank statements they thought they'd deleted forever. The next morning, campus woke up to chaos and I had my almond latte in hand, watching the fire spread from the comfort of the student lounge like it was the season finale of some messy reality show that just so happened to star my two favorite villains. Someone definitely not me had leaked a Dropbox folder labeled Summer Receipts, the truth behind Vanessa and Jason. Inside were screenshots of bank transactions showing Jason transferring money from my old card to pay for Vanessa's cosmetic procedures and hotel stays, including one very sketchy suite listed under entertainment hosting. There were audio clips too, like the one where Vanessa drunkenly bragged about playing the long game to steal my identity and Jason laughing that he deserved a medal for keeping up the act until my family finally kicked me out. And the cherry on top? CCTV footage from a shady lounge in Miami where Vanessa was, how should I say this politely clearly, not just serving drinks. The group chats exploded. Twitter threads multiplied by the hour. Even the campus Reddit had a sticky post titled, "Emily Walker was the real MVP all along." Meanwhile, Vanessa was frantically DMing mutuals trying to explain how everything was misinterpreted and taken out of context, which only made things worse. Her followers started dropping like flies. Jason? He straight up deleted all his socials by 2 p.m. and skipped class. I was tempted to feel sorry for them, but then I remembered Vanessa sneering at me with my adoption papers and Jason telling me I wasn't wife material, and suddenly my pity evaporated faster than their reputations. Still, I wasn't done. I walked into Finance 301 like I owned the place because I kind of did now, and took the seat right in front of Jason, who had finally decided to show his face again. He looked like a walking PR disaster. Hollow eyes, pale lips, and the subtle twitch of a man who hadn't slept since the internet turned on him. "Morning," I said with a smile that could slice steel. "Welcome back." He flinched like I'd slapped him. Professor Klein gave me a knowing nod before starting lecture, as if he too had seen the videos, and quietly voted me president of Petty Revenge Club. Halfway through the class, Vanessa slipped in late wearing sunglasses indoors, which wasn't suspicious at all. The moment she spotted me, she froze. Every seat near me was taken, obviously. She ended up in the back row, and even from there, I could hear her muttering under her breath. After class, I walked past her slowly, letting my perfume trail linger. "Still think I'm the fake one?" I asked without looking back. "Your time's almost up." She didn't respond, but I could feel her entire body go rigid. Outside, reporters were already staking out the university gates. Word had gotten out that I was the real daughter of Robert Walker, and every major gossip site wanted a piece of the story. My family's PR team released a short statement. MS. Emily Walker is and always has been the biological daughter of Robert and Diana Walker. The Walkers are pleased to have reunited with her. Short, sharp, clean. Unlike Vanessa's 4-page Instagram Notes app apology that read more like a failed college essay. That night, I sat at dinner with my brothers, casually scrolling through memes of Jason crying in the bathroom. Ryan, bless him, kept sending me TikToks of people reenacting the drama, and one particularly savage one used audio for Mean Girls. "Regina George wishes she had your level of burn." Noah laughed, sipping his wine. "You've done more damage in 3 days than I did in 2 years of law school." "Thanks," I said, raising my glass. "But we're just getting started." Because while public humiliation was fun, it wasn't justice. And I wanted justice. The next day, my lawyer Lisa Grant, who wore heels sharper than her cross-examinations, filed charges against Jason and Vanessa for fraud, identity theft, and defamation. The evidence? Everything they thought they deleted, buried, or whispered behind closed doors. I had it all. Call me paranoid, but I'd backed up everything long before the birthday betrayal. Jason's fake invoices, Vanessa's plastic surgery appointments billed under my name, even text messages where they plotted how to fake a pregnancy scare to keep me emotionally tied. The police didn't take long. They were both detained for questioning by the end of the week. Columbia, in full damage control mode, issued a press release suspending both students, pending investigation. Jason's frat brothers ghosted him. Vanessa's influencer sponsorships disappeared overnight. I got flowers from 3 different departments thanking me for protecting the university's reputation. One included a handwritten note from the dean. "You really don't play around, do you?" "No, Dean Richards. I don't." But it was the visit from Vanessa's mother that really sealed the week. She showed up at the Walker estate, makeup smudged, eyes wild, practically throwing herself at my feet. "Emily, please," she sobbed. Vanessa's father had a heart attack from the stress. "She's being dragged back to North Dakota. She's ruined. You've won. Isn't that enough?" I looked her straight in the eye and said, "If she hadn't ruined my life first, none of this would have happened. Actions have consequences, Mrs. Blake. She can learn that at home like I had to learn everything else." The woman left sobbing, but I didn't flinch. I wasn't doing this to feel powerful. I was doing this so no other girl would have to question her worth just because some manipulative parasites decided to treat her like a pawn. Later that night, I posted a story. A photo of the stars above the Walker estate with a caption that simply read, "Still standing. Stronger than ever. And not done yet." Because I wasn't. I had plans. Real plans. And next week, when I stepped into the Business Leaders Gala as Robert Walker's only daughter, I'd be walking into a room full of men who once thought I was just a disposable girl with a rich ex and no real power. I couldn't wait to prove them all wrong. The Business Leaders Gala was never meant to be about me. But let's be honest, by the time I stepped onto that red carpet in a deep emerald satin gown custom designed by Elie Saab and paired with vintage diamond earrings from my mother's collection, it very much became my stage. Paparazzi lights flickered like lightning storms and voices shouted my name, and for the first time in my life, I didn't flinch, I leaned into it. Emily Walker, biological daughter of Robert and Diana Walker, heiress to a multi-billion-dollar empire, and now the most talked-about name on every social media platform within a 500-mile radius. I could practically feel Vanessa choking on air from her motel room somewhere in North Dakota, where she'd been dragged back to by her parents, and Jason, well, word had it he was crashing on someone's couch in Queens, jobless, friendless, and fighting a pending lawsuit that included credit card fraud, cyber harassment, and identity exploitation. But tonight wasn't about them anymore. Tonight was about the next move. Inside the gala, chandeliers sparkled like frozen fireworks above heads worth a collective net value of $500 billion. Men in tuxedos laughed a little too loudly. Women in backless couture whispered while pretending to sip champagne. I moved through it like I belonged because I did. Beside me, my father introduced me to industry giants and CEOs who all suddenly had space on their calendars to speak to the Walker daughter. Funny how money turns suspicion into admiration and gossip into applause. I smiled, shook hands, posed for photos, and played the role of polished heiress flawlessly. But deep down, I was still the girl who got humiliated on a rooftop, who had her whole life ripped out from under her in front of hundreds of fake friends and 2 monsters she once trusted. I wasn't healed, not yet, but I was reclaiming control, piece by glamorous piece. "You're handling this better than most seasoned legacies," my father whispered proudly as we stood in front of the media wall. "You were made for this." Maybe I was. Or maybe I was just tired of letting people write my story for me. Later that night, while the string quartet played some overpriced classical piece none of us were really listening to, I caught the eye of Daniel Reedy's, that Daniel Reed, heir to the Reed International conglomerate and one of the youngest billionaires under 30. He walked toward me with a champagne flute and a sly grin. "So, you're the infamous Emily Walker everyone's afraid to piss off," he said. "Guilty," I replied, sipping from my own glass. "Should I be flattered or concerned?" "Both," he said. They say you crushed 2 reputations in a week without breaking a sweat. I wore heels the whole time, too. I added with a wink. He chuckled, and just like that, the rumors started swirling. By the end of the evening, Page 6 was running a headline that read, "Power couple in the making? Emily Walker spotted with Daniel Reed at Walker Gala." The comments were split between "she's iconic" and "Jason who," which, to be fair, was exactly the energy I was going for. Back home, I kicked off my shoes, peeled off the gown, and collapsed into silk sheets while my phone buzzed nonstop. The world was watching, and I wasn't planning on going quiet. But just as I started to drift off, a call came through a known number. I almost let it ring, but curiosity won. "Hello." Silence, then a broken voice.
Inites Jason.
I sat up slowly. "You have 5 seconds to explain why you think I want to hear your voice." "I messed up," he choked. "I lost everything. My family won't talk to me. My friends are gone. I was stupid. Vanessa, she used me, too. She was never who I thought she was. Please, I need you." I could hear his breathing, ragged and pathetic, like some stray dog begging to be let back in. "You need me," I repeated, my voice ice. "Where was this energy when you let her humiliate me? When you stood by and watched everything collapse while you whispered lies in my ear?" I didn't know what else to do, then figured out. I snapped. "You chose your path. Walk it alone." I hung up. No hesitation. No second thoughts. Just peace. For once. The next day, I found myself trending again, not because of anything I did, but because someone had leaked an old photo of Jason and Vanessa with a caption suggesting they were misunderstood victims. The post tried to spin them as tragic lovers caught in a web of elite manipulation. Honestly, I laughed. The comments section was brutal. They had a whole group chat about ruining Emily, one user wrote. "Now, they want sympathy? Girl got receipts, a lawyer, and 3 hot brothers," another added. "Jason and Vanessa better disappear before the sequel hits." But instead of retaliating, I let it simmer. I had bigger things to focus on. That afternoon, my father handed me something unexpected, a file folder with my name engraved on it. Inside were documents officially transferring 5% of Walker Holdings voting shares to me, along with my appointment to the junior executive board. "You're not just the daughter anymore," he said. "You're the future." I was speechless. This wasn't just a gesture. This was power. Authority. A seat at the table. "You earned this," he added. "Not because of the scandal, but because of how you handled it. You turned ashes into a throne." That night, I updated my LinkedIn profile because, yes, petty can be professional too, and within hours, recruiters and journalists were in my inbox. I accepted one interview request. Just one. The headline ran the next morning, "Emily Walker, the heiress who didn't just survive scandal, she built an empire from it." And just like that, everything shifted. My name no longer echoed with pity or gossip. It echoed with respect. But I wasn't done rewriting the narrative yet. Because even empires have ghosts. And mine was about to show up uninvited. I should have known peace was temporary, especially in my world where karma didn't just knock, it showed up in designer heels and crashed through the front gates with a vengeance. Because just when I thought I'd closed every chapter tied to Jason and Vanessa, fate handed me one final, unfinished page, and it began with a letter. Not a DM, not a lawyer's notice, not even an email, actual handwritten letter in perfect cursive, slipped into my mailbox at the Walker estate without security catching it, which was already a red flag in itself. It was addressed to me in faded blue ink. "Emily, please read this. It's about what really happened." No return address. No signature. Just shaky desperation soaked into each line, the kind of thing you only get from someone who's either terrified or cornered or both. I didn't need Sherlock Holmes to figure out who sent it. Vanessa. Or someone close to her. I sat on my bedroom floor, the letter spread open beside my phone while the sun leaked through my windows like melted gold. My heart told me to burn it, forget it, block it out like white noise, but my mindit whispered that power didn't come from avoiding the past. It came from owning it.
So I read.
And what I read didn't excuse anything, but it did shift the narrative just enough to make my skin crawl. Apparently, Jason and Vanessa had never planned to expose me. Not at first. It was all about the long complet nice, marry rich, and secure a lifetime of elite access by leeching off my fake heiress status. But when Vanessa's biological mother reached out in secret, confirming the Walker switch-up and offering her a deal to reclaim her real life by taking me down, Vanessa panicked. She was being blackmailed by her own blood, forced to come clean or lose everything. So she dragged Jason into it, manipulated the narrative, and turned what could have been a private, civil matter into a social bloodbath because she thought the drama would gain sympathy, exposure, maybe even land her a TV deal. But the problem was she underestimated me. Again. I folded the letter and tossed it into the fireplace. That part of the story didn't deserve to live any longer. I'd already survived the betrayal. I wasn't about to give it another chapter. But closure had a funny way of showing up in waves. The next day, my team received a legal request for mediation. Jason wanted to negotiate. Not through courts, not with lawyers breathing down his neck, but face to face. The audacity. My first instinct was laughter. My second was curiosity. And my third was strategy. Because if there was even a sliver of a chance I could use this meeting to bury every last ghost, I was taking it. So we met. In a neutral hotel conference room near the Upper East Side, 2 security guards outside, 2 lawyers inside, and a round table that felt way too intimate for the history we carried. Jason looked worse than before, sunken cheeks, twitchy fingers, like he hadn't slept in weeks. His suit was too loose, his watch was missing, and his eyes. Well, for the first time, he looked like he knew he'd lost. "Thank you for coming," he said. "Don't flatter yourself," I replied. "Your lawyer said you wanted to confess something. Make it fast." He exhaled. I didn't expect it to go that far. I thought I could control Vanessa. I didn't know she'd expose you like that. I swear I tried to stop her that night. You stood next to her and smiled while she ruined my life. I snapped. "Don't rewrite history just because you're drowning now." "I know," he said, voice cracking. "I lost everything. My parents won't speak to me. My little brother looks at me like I'm dirt. I'm not asking for forgiveness, Emily. I just want to explain. Explain why you drained my account to pay for her chin filler?"
I said.
"Or why you took my promise ring and gave it to her 2 weeks later?" He flinched. "Good. Vanessa lied to both of us," he said. "She told me you were sleeping with Daniel Reed for money. She said you planned to marry him and throw me away." I was angry. I believed her. I shouldn't have. I stared at him in silence. I wanted to scream, to laugh, to throw something. But instead, I leaned forward and said, "And now you want." "What? An apology? A truce? Redemption?" "I want to help you," he said. "I have screenshots. Voice memos. Vanessa recorded everything. She was going to flip the story and sell it to the tabloids. She wanted to frame you for fraud next. Why would she do that now?" I asked. "Because she's desperate," he said. "And she hates that you won. She thinks if she takes you down, she can still spin herself into the victim." My blood ran cold. I'd underestimated her again. I stood up. "Send me the files. Everything. And stay out of my way. If you cross me again, I won't sue you, I'll destroy you." He nodded, defeated. I walked out without looking back. Back at the estate, I uploaded everything Jason sent to my team. It was worse than I expected. Vanessa had months' worth of voice recordings, plans to fake abuse allegations, fake text threads that made me look like I was harassing her, even scripts for interview answers she drafted in Notes app style, all designed to paint me as the jealous, privileged bully and her as the poor, switched-at-birth underdog. It was delusional and dangerous. But the moment she tried to launch the campaign, my team was ready. We filed restraining orders. We sent cease and desist letters. And we leaked the unedited audio to every journalist she'd pitched. Within 48 hours, she was trending again, but this time under hashtags like Vanessa Lies Again and Justice for Emily. Her last remaining sponsors dropped her. Her father released a public apology on her behalf, and her mother fled social media altogether. She was officially over.
Done.
Expired. But strangely, I didn't feel victorious. Not really. I felt
clean.
Like I had finally washed off the last residue of what they tried to bury me in. I went to bed that night in silence. No music, no TV, just the sound of my own heartbeat, steady, calm, whole. But peace, as I'd learned, never lasted long. Because the next morning, my assistant burst into my room, holding her phone. "You need to see this," she said. I took the phone, blinked at the screen, and felt my stomach drop.
A new headline.
A new face. Unknown sister of Emily Walker emerges claims inheritance, demands DNA test. And just like that, the story wasn't over. It was only beginning. I should have been sipping my iced matcha in peace, enjoying the rare quiet that came after dismantling every piece of the twisted tower Jason and Vanessa built, but instead, I found myself staring at a news headline that felt like it had been plucked straight out of a bad soap opera, except it was real, and my name was once again front and center for the world to chew on like gossip-flavored gum. New woman steps forward claiming to be Emily Walker's biological sister, demands DNA test and share of Walker inheritance. Her name was Lauren Price, a 22-year-old with carefully curated curls, soft freckles, and a painfully convincing sob story that had already started trending on every platform from TikTok to Reddit. In the interview clip making rounds, she said her adoptive parents told her on their deathbeds that she wasn't their real daughter. She'd hired a private investigator who apparently confirmed she had been one of the babies born in the same hospital on the same day as me. The twist? She claimed the Walkers originally adopted her before I was found, and then abandoned her when I was recovered. It was a complete fabrication, obviously, but the media didn't care about facts, they cared about drama. Within hours, I was tagged in videos with titles like "Poor Sister Left Behind" and "Did Emily Walker's Family Choose Fame Over Blood?" And I swear, if one more influencer posted a reaction clip crying with a fake British accent about the injustice of it all, I was going to set my phone on fire. My parents were in London for an emergency board meeting, and my brothers were halfway through a PR tour, so I was left to handle this mess alone again. But alone didn't mean weak. It meant focused. I called Lisa Grant, my lawyer, and within 15 minutes we had a crisis response plan mapped out across 3 screens and 5 color-coded folders. "We're going to disprove this before she even finishes her 3rd TikTok," I said, pinning my hair back with the kind of calm that only comes from burning your whole life down and building it back twice. Lisa smirked. "God, I love when you go full Walker mode." First step? Get the facts. We pulled Lauren's medical records, birth certificate, hospital logs, and compared them to mine. No matches. No overlaps. No evidence of any Walker adoption or hospital switch. Second step?
Get the DNA.
Surprisingly, Lauren agreed to the test. Probably because she thought her big blue eyes and teary monologues were enough to sway the court of public opinion before science caught up. But I wasn't in the mood to be gentle. I released a single statement on my verified account. Family isn't decided by cameras or clicks. Let's let the truth speak. Then I turned off my phone. I didn't need the noise. I already knew how this would play out. The results came in 3 days later. I wasn't a match. Not even remotely. She wasn't my sister, she wasn't a Walker, and she certainly wasn't a victim. Turns out, Lauren was a failed influencer who'd applied to over 50 reality shows before the stunt. Her entire sob story had been lifted from a drama script she once submitted to an indie film competition. She just thought my name was her ticket into relevance. I wasn't even angry. I was exhausted. But the final blow had to be public. So I agreed to a live press conference, dressed in head-to-toe black, with diamond studs and no makeup except a swipe of bold red lipstick, the kind of look that says, "I'm done playing." I stood behind the podium, cameras flashing like fireworks, reporters practically vibrating with anticipation. I took a breath. 3 months ago, I was humiliated.
Betrayed.
Lied to by the people I trusted the most. Then I was claimed. Chosen. Loved by the people I should have had all along. And through it all, I've stayed silent when I could have screamed. But silence, I paused, is not the same as weakness. And patience is not the same as permission. So here's the truth. I am Emily Walker. I was born Emily Walker. No fake sister, no fake heiress, no fake narrative will ever rewrite that again. We've conducted the DNA tests. We've seen the lies. And to anyone else thinking of using my name as their shortcut to famed, I looked dead into the camera. I will not be your stepping stone. I am not your plot twist. I am the main character of this story. And I write the ending. The room erupted. Not just with applause, but with clarity. The smear campaign collapsed within hours. Lauren deactivated her socials and quietly left New York. She posted a final video in some gas station parking lot apologizing for misunderstanding the paperwork, which was code for "I got caught lying and now I'm broke again." Meanwhile, my team doubled our security protocols. I returned to campus for finals like nothing had happened, though now professors called me Mess Walker with a little more caution. My classmates mostly avoided eye contact unless they were asking for internship referrals. And me? I was still standing. Stronger. Sharper. Wiser. The world had thrown every curveball. It had family drama, betrayal, false friends, fake sisters, and I'd turned every single one into fuel. What started as survival became transformation. What started as revenge became rebirth. One night, a new email popped up in my inbox. It was from Daniel Reed. Just a subject line. "You free for dinner?" No drama. Just sushi. I smiled. Maybe I was ready to let someone in again. Maybe. But for now, I opened my window, felt the breeze rush in, and whispered to myself, not for the camera, not for the press, not for the haters, just for me. They tried to erase me. But I became unforgettable instead.